I was listening to some radio.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN Madison studio with Matt Hamilton, here's Jim Rutledge.
Congratulations to the Badgers women's hockey team on winning another national championship. It's not necessarily a topic for sports talk radio as far as knocking out calls and debating how special of a run it was and which one of these championships, multiple championships that Mark Johnson has at Wisconsin is your favorite. But I will say this, it is remarkable and applaudable that the women's hockey team is the first team ever to be unseeded in that tournament and go ahead and win the national championship. So congratulations to them. Matt Hamilton's back with me. You know something about winning on the ice.
Sometimes. Sometimes I do. I was actually, I believe, now correct me if I'm wrong, I'm going off the
I was
cuff
going to
here.
ask if you, go ahead, where you're going here.
I think that that Final Four hockey tournament was up at the AMSOIL Arena.
It's in Duluth. I don't
Duluth.
know. Yep.
The AMSOIL, it's connected to the curling club I was at all weekend, so that's why the parking lot was so full the entire time we were there. So, yeah, we saw Badger fans and some Ohio State fans. They're out in droves up there, and, glad they were able to get it done. I traveled all the way up and did not make it to a game, unfortunately.
Yeah, boo this man, but you had other stuff to do there. And honestly, we're very proud and happy for them, but we're not the best at following along with the women's hockey team. But we do like winners.
Or the men's hockey team.
Men's hockey. Well, it's forgivable for the men's hockey team for us not to be paying attention to. They're terrible. Hopefully they get better.
Right.
But the women's team is phenomenal, and we should be better at paying attention to them. What I was trying to get to.
That is the truth.
That is a miss on us, and so we're going to fix that by congratulating them for their national championship. Mark Johnson, the most accomplished coach, right? Even more than Sheffield with the women's volleyball team, the most accomplished coach at University of Wisconsin right now.
Absolutely.
Might be all time, honestly. I mean, giving Barry Alvarez a run for his money, I'd say.
You're right. I mean, right up there. And
Bo Ryan?
Bo
never
never really
had
had the championships, though.
Well, yeah, it's obviously basketball's a little different, but like sustained success, I think is there's something to be said for it.
Sure.
But you're right. If we're purely going off championships, it's probably the women's
7
hockey team.
national championships in 16, 18 years. It's pretty hard to beat, I'd say.
That is pretty tough to beat.
844-770-3776. You know what? If you want to, because we got a few texts in here, you can text in your shout-outs and congratulations to the team, and we will share them on the air. Mike and Madison chimes in. I think this is the best championship, even though I said we weren't going to pick through them. Mike and Madison's got a take on it because they went unseeded and went through 1, 2, and 3 seeds to win the chip. I mean, it was a great run, and it picked up a lot of momentum, and I had a great Sunday. I watched them play, and then I watched my FAU Owls play and get to the Sweet 16. Chris from Manitowoc Waters chimes in with Chris is a self-fulfilling prophecy. Finally started the show without talking about Aaron Rodgers. Now, we're not going to talk specifically about Aaron Rodgers today unless he is finally traded, but there's a lot of weight behind Aaron Rodgers last week as far as talking on Pat McAfee's show about how Aaron has his intention now to play for the New York Jets. So we're all just kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop. And we could talk about, do you want draft picks? Do you want players? What is your preference here? But that really, I think, Matt, gets down to the point of, do you think the Packers are trying to rebuild or reload right now? And what is your preference? And that'll be our first Iron Jock poll question, 844-770-3776. What is your preference with the Green Bay Packers? Do you prefer this offseason they try to reload or try to rebuild? Because they let Robert Tonyan leave for not very much. He went to Chicago. That part's inconsequential it could have some consequence, but this is not a major move. But he went there for very inexpensive. Easy deal for them to get out of even this year. Alan Lazard, gone. You brought back Keyshawn Nixon, which is nice, but that's not a playmaking wide receiver, not a tight end. The Packers right now are looking like a team that's kind of putting their quarterback in a position where they're not going to have a ton of weapons for him, and their new quarterback, Jordan Love, who, oh, by the way, according to multiple reports, is inviting Aaron Jones, Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson out to Cali to work out with him. So good on him for trying to make a good first impression there. He is clearly taking the reins as QB1. But, Matt, you've had a weekend of curling, a couple days to kind of process this, setting aside the Rodgers part of it. What do you want the Packers to do this offseason? Do you want them to try to reload and try to win with Jordan Love, or do you want them to kind of take this opportunity to rebuild this offseason? If you're rebuilding, it's probably 2 offseasons.
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple schools of thought. Like, my first inclination was, I don't know if Jordan Love being a first-time starter is going to be able to get it done in the most important moments. So that makes me think reloading around him might not be the best play. It might be like throwing money at a like empty hole. You know what I mean? Like you might get some good productive play, but you might not be able to get it done even with the right pieces around Jordan Love. So I'm kind of inclined to say rebuild, see what you have in Jordan Love, and then that'll change your timeline where if you have something good and you think Jordan Love is going to be it for the foreseeable future, you probably shorten that rebuild time because finding that quarterback might be the hardest thing to do. Or if on the other hand, if you don't think Jordan Love's the guy, he's kind of showing you that doesn't have the right stuff and doesn't have what it takes, you're not so invested in some other players that you brought in where you can maybe go out, try and find a quarterback in the draft. Maybe a little more seasoned player becomes available and you can pick up a quarterback and then you can get the pieces around him. So I'm more in the rebuild because I do not want to get in a hole. Like, we obviously know what it's like to be in cap purgatory with Aaron Rodgers' giant cap hits that he was taking up for a while. So I don't think I would like to commit a bunch of money to players, especially when we're so unsure at quarterback. That's the most important position. And if you don't think that guy can do it, or you don't know if he can do it, which is definitely where the Packers are at, I don't want to throw a bunch of money at it.
844-770-3776. Do you want the Packers to rebuild or reload this offseason with Jordan Love? And I don't know the type of players are available, but that question, I think, ties into what do you want from compensation from the Jets. If you want a rebuild, then you are looking probably of, hey, give me a second round of this year, maybe a conditional first next year, depending on what Rodgers commits to. And let's move on, but this way we get one more valuable draft asset. A Jets second-round pick is still a pretty high pick.
Right.
That'd be in the top 40 or top 45, so it's still 2 picks in the top 45 can help you get your team rolling very quickly. Or you could look at it and say, look, give me Elijah Moore, because that's what the Adam Madison chimes in. He wants a third-round pick in Elijah Moore. And Elijah Moore has now had 2 years in the league, and that allows Jordan Love, and this is part of how much rope are the Packers giving Jordan Love. Because if you have Elijah Moore, Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson, you have 3 pass catchers. There's still a giant hole as far as pass catchers for the Packers, because right now they got nothing at tight end, and they have Watson and Doubs, who are developing players, but far away from being proven players in this league. And putting all that on Watson next year to be the one, it really puts him in a tough spot. So if you added Elijah Moore, that can make a difference. Or you could add another name that's been floated is Jermaine Johnson, who was a first-round pick for the Jets last year and had 2.5 sacks last year, but was the 26th overall pick by the Jets from Florida State University. So an ascending player, but still a guy 1 year closer to trying to get a new deal. So 844-770-3776. Matt Hamilton kind of preferring that the Packers rebuild rather than reload this offseason. Right now, it is a tight one. It is 46% say rebuild, 53% say reload, but that literally is changing, I think, every time I load up our Iron Jack poll question.
I just misvoted. I clicked wrong. I wrote reload. I meant
Classic
rebuild.
Matt Hamilton voting wrong in his poll. So we all had kind of a nice Aaron Rodgers free weekend.
It was nice.
It was nice.
But actually, you know what? I was up in North Minnesota. I had so many people asking me. First, once they found out I was a radio host for Madison in ESPN, I just started getting the Rodgers questions like daily.
So that does. You and I talk about it, but even in Minnesota, everywhere. Honestly, Mike from Edge Construction came in. He said he likes the Packers, but he's not in this day to day. He said, "Update me on Rodgers." I mean, that's the first thing he said to me. Anyone I talked to casually. what's the latest on Rodgers? But anyways, to your point, Rodgers, why do you guys talk about Aaron Rodgers all the time? Because that's all you talk about when we talk to anyone, just living our lives.
Yeah. It gets brought up a lot.
Yes.
The whole his comments, I believe this was on McAfee or some interview, that he was arguably the best Packer ever.
Yeah.
That got brought up a couple times.
Where do you fall on that?
You know how I fall on that.
Not Bart Starr, huh?
Again, I said it. I would tell everybody, if you're basing it off championships and appearances, he's third. But I think if you're going to base it off raw talent, because of the way the league is now compared to the way it used to be, even with Brett Favre, Rodgers is easily the most talented quarterback we've ever had. I would argue he might be the most talented player we've ever had. So I think it's probably Rodgers. Again, there's an argument to be made. If you want to base it purely off Super Bowls, that's fine. But if you want to base it on individual play, like the guy's a 4-time MVP, that's more than any other Packer.
Well, it's trickier in the idea that Bart Starr, and I have to look back into it, it's dominance during that era. Mm-hmm. And so, Favre won 3 in a row. And so that, and that's not the show I want to do. Aaron Rodgers is a very strong case.
He's not wrong when he said he's debatably the best.
Yes.
It's not a good look to say that.
Not the time or place.
Yeah, but it's no doubt. Like no one's going to question that.
Nobody's questioning it's debatably
you're just
the best.
Ticking people off at a point.
Again, stupid to say. Like at that time and place, don't go Ricky Bobby on everyone. Because
you're not first, you're last.
Here's the deal. I'm the best there ever is. I wake up in the morning and I pee green and gold. That's basically what Aaron Rodgers.
Like me.
I'm debatably the best radio host on the show.
Now, Daryl Deerfield does chime in, who you missed last week. You are debatably. You're one of two. You missed it last week. Daryl and Deerfield chimed in. He shared a video. We could not load it, of a live calf birth.
Okay.
And he sent us the photo. It's on the talking text line. I'll be honest, I can't really decipher what this photo is, but apparently it's a live calf. But you missed that on Friday's show because we said goodbye to Molly Brown, and then Alex Strofe asked a bunch of stupid questions about pregnancy, like what does dilated mean? So Daryl and Deerfield.
Cool.
Alex Strofe, man. That guy, for as much as he knows about radio and how to run the board and everything else, all the other random knowledge that he should have is just gone. He wasted all that on WWE news and history and radio stuff.
And Mountain Dew has melted whatever brain cells he had as well.
Oh my goodness.
But
Alex, what are you doing?
Daryl and Deerfield, again, thanks for all that education last week. He chimes in with most talent doesn't equate to the best, which is fair.
Yes.
That is fair. And again, I think that's where Matt's getting at. And if you want to chime in on this, 844-770-3776, you can. Is Aaron Rodgers the best Packer of all time? There's a case to be made for any one of those three.
Yeah.
You can't say Reggie White. He wasn't here long enough. Same with Charles Woodson. Those are names that come to mind. Don Hudson. I don't
nothing
know.
Without it's tough when the quarterback's the most important position. Even back then, it wasn't as much, but it still was super important.
And you go to the quarterback position because Devontae Adams, one hell of a Packer. Sterling Sharp, I'll maintain, could be the best receiver in Packers history. What he was doing in that era.
Or Robert Brooks, too.
Right. But what Sterling Sharp was doing in that era is still one of the more remarkable runs that any receiver has had.
Clay Matthews was really good for a short window, but he was really good.
Yes. But I like to
It's tough to get outside of the quarterbacks and then make a strong argument for anyone who's not the quarterback.
Can I just point this out? I love to give Sterling Sharp. People say I'm negative. I want to stay a positive here. Sterling Sharp, what he did, especially over a 3-year window with the Packers before he got hurt. In 1992, this is, Matt Hamilton, 108 catches for 1,400 yards and 13 touchdowns. It's a different era back then.
Yeah.
1993.
That's like Justin Jefferson numbers.
1993, 112 catches for 1,300 yards and 11 touchdowns. In 1994, 94 catches, 1,200 yards, 18 touchdowns.
Brett had a favorite.
Right? But for good reason.
Yeah.
Sterling Sharp with the Packers, unfortunately that injury obviously derailed his Packers career, but woo.
Indeed.
That was every bit Devontae Adams.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt.
So you can chime in with, also Rans as far as greatest Packers of all time, and Sterling Sharp, Charles Woodson, Reggie White.
We can avoid the Rodgers talk, and we say, what's the greatest Packer of all time non-quarterback?
844-770-3776. side note here. So I was in a good mood because I saw FAU. I don't know if you guys watched any of the college basketball
Go
tournament.
Owls.
Go Owls. I think that's our team now. We thought
Yeah,
maybe
I'll be
Marquette.
an Owl
They're the
fan.
only team that's any ties to this show or this station that's left. The Big Ten is basically the NIT. I mean, Michigan State's the only team that made it to the Sweet 16. Every other team lost in the first weekend, and the Badgers are winning the NIT. So might as well just call the Big Ten the Big NIT because it is embarrassing. And if you watch the FAU Fairleigh Dickinson game, that was fun. They had
Isn't it
70.
just fair? Everyone's been saying fairly. Am I wrong, or is everyone else wrong?
It's fairly. It is not
It
just
is
fair.
fairly.
Yeah, it's fully.
So on the
FAI.
bracket, it says fair.
It's probably
It's
just the
abbreviated.
short and
Oh,
abbreviated
okay.
version.
Fair Dickinson. I was pretty
Fair,
confident.
dog. Fair.
I mean, what? I don't follow whatever league they're in.
I just more of like, I love that for a name of a college. We're fair. It's fine. Like
well,
it's,
they're not as good as good Dickinson.
We're just fairly
That's what
Dickinson.
she said.
Yeah, if you're going to pick a college, go to Good Dickinson instead of Fairly Dickinson.
That's what she said.
But there was, so speaking of FDU, we'll roll with, they had, and this is with all due respect, the nerdiest human being possibly on the face of the earth. It was mentioned a few times in the broadcast. I don't know if anyone saw this. Their SID
Yes.
is a junior at the university who, when he arrived as a freshman, SIDs normally are grown men with jobs, grown men or women with jobs. This is a boy who is a junior in college who, when he arrived as a freshman, said, I don't want to do media or be on TV or the radio. I want to be the guy who organizes interviews for the coach and players. And he started as a freshman. And he is the head guy in charge at Fairleigh Dickinson, and he wears like nerdy glasses and like an obnoxious coat. The guy is the sweetest looking nerd I've ever seen in my life, but he reminded me of Alex Strofe. Basically, he is the Alex Strofe of SIDs. Like, Alex Strofe all through college is like, I want to be a radio guy. Everything else go out the window. I'm going to do every blog and every radio show out there, and I'll know about sports radio networks that nobody's ever heard of in their entire lives. And basically, this kid from Fairleigh Dickinson, FDU, basically went the same route, but with SID. I cannot believe a junior in college as the SID of this program. The guy has to be the largest nerd that's ever walked the face of the earth. Second to maybe Alex Strofe.
Well, good for him. I like that he knows what he wants in life.
I mean, what?
That's a rare quality
But,
to find, especially at that age.
It is, but like, what a bar to shoot for, with all due respect.
Hey, so some people shoot for the moon and just to land amongst the stars.
Some people shoot for SID in a low-tier Division I school.
Sometimes you land in New Jersey. It happens.
Right? Yeah. The Adam and Madison chimes in. If Sharp didn't get hurt, he'd give Jerry Rice for a run at GOAT title. Absolutely. Pat Madison chimes in. Starr is the best Packer. There's a difference between best player, probably Rodgers, best Packer. Starr, till the day he died, embodied what it meant to be a Packer.
Agreed.
Best leader by far. And that's right. Oh, there it is. We have to share this photo. So please, Ryan, who's in for Alex Strofe, who's out sick today, we asked Daryl and Deerfield to name the calf Strophy, and he did. So we have a photo. We did ask for that, and thank you, Daryl and Deerfield. We'll share that at Jim and Matt, the baby cow named after Alex Strofe. Baby Strophy.
Is it a bull or a cow?
I don't know.
I'm just curious because if it's a cow, I'd love some milk.
You want to
Not right away,
You
obviously.
want to drink from the teat of baby
No,
Strophy?
just, we can go straight to a mason jar. But yeah, I do.
Oh man, I would imagine it is a dairy cow because that's what Daryl does. So
Well, right, but it could be a male.
I don't know.
And they don't have milk.
Are you sure?
Well,
Kingpin
I'm not
begs to
milking that.
differ. The movie Kingpin begs to differ. Daryl and Deerfield, please educate us if that is a cow that gives.
Yeah. No
milk.
bull
But we will
milk,
share.
please.
We will share the photo at Jim and Matt. This is Rutledge and Hamilton. We are presented by Coors Light. The mountains are blue. You know what to do.
And that's Crush, a Coors Light.
You're listening to Rutledge and Hamilton, presented by Coors Light. Miss any of the show? Find full show podcasts free on Wisconsin On Demand and wherever you get your podcasts.
North and South Seafood and Smokehouse is the official barbecue and seafood and smokehouse of Rutledge and Hamilton. Make sure to listen every Wednesday for your chance to win a $50 gift card to North and South Seafood and Smokehouse in Madison, Verona, and DeForest. North and South Seafood and Smokehouse.
Wendy's 2 for $6 lets you mix and match some of our best items, like Dave Single with a 10-piece crispy nugs, medium strawberry lemonade with a spicy chicken sandwich, spicy chicken with a Dave Single with a strawberry lemonade, strawberry lemonade, if you're into that. Chicken Sam, crispy nugs, strawberry lemonade, Dave's, nugs, Sam. Whew. Pick what you want.